Well, I'm actually reading the book called Outlive by Peter Attia, and I was really interested in, some of the content in that book, like, some of the perspectives Peter has in longevity and just making our lives better in general. He talks about the 4 horsemen. So the first one is, he talks about heart disease. So that's the first horseman. So he's like, in America, we have this huge, epidemic of heart disease.
It is the number one
killer, which is weird because apparently that is the most preventable one. We have the most control over with, exercise and, everything we know about it, and also the best treatments for it. So it's kind of fucked that
it's still the
highest. Then the second horseman is cancer. The third one is dementia.
But dementia, I don't understand. They die. Is it you're losing your mind? But how do you?
Well, it's imagine your brain starts deteriorating.
Oh, okay, so it actually physically.
Yeah, the neurons inside your brain they get degraded and they die. So it's eventually if you don't have
your
any
system is
if your neurons are dying, right? Eventually your heart's gonna stop, or you're not gonna everything's gonna because your brain controls all of it, right?
It's it's your computer CPU is degrading, and then one day the computer is just gonna.
It's more like the motherboard almost. It's because the brain is like the motherboard, right? It's like the fucking control system.
You're right. Okay.
So it's if the motherboard every day you're unplugging one link. Oh, okay, let's remove the link to the
transistor.
CPU. Yeah, let's remove the transistor. Let's remove the RAM. Let's it's like that almost. So, so that's the third horseman, and then the last one is metabolic disorders. So everything metabolic is anything with diabetes or insulin resistance, just being obese. Things like that.
Autoimmune issues?
No, that's something else. So when he says metabolic, it's like
your system not running correctly.
Yeah, you're overweight, or you're insulin resistant, or you're things of that, some of those diseases.
Yeah. So
he's saying that horseman, the metabolic diseases, will increase your chances of getting the other ones. Like cancer or dementia or heart disease.
Oh, okay.
So if you're obese, your chances of getting heart disease are way higher.
It's going to increase, yeah. Okay, so that's kind of at the base of a lot of these other ones.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So this kind of brings us to our second question, which we kind of segued into a little bit just there. So what is more important? Lifespan or health span?
So let's make this question a bit more specific by kind of giving it through an example. So you could live a health span, a healthy life, but you will die at 50, or you could have a long lifespan until 120, but you're going to be miserable,
suffering with disease and bad relationships, and you're just sad.
Yeah.
So there's a
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of quantity versus quality.
Quality. It is that a bit.
Well, a lot of people would say, well, why can't I have both? I have a long life and a healthy life, So it's which is more important? Because if you have to choose one, I mean, I would want a more healthy and more happy and fulfilled life, instead of being sick, but I'm able to endure until 100, let's say.
Okay.
Although but that's the thing, aren't they kind of linked as well? How could you live to 100 if your
health span is terrible? They are kind of intertwined in that way.
That way, yeah.
But if you had to choose one, which one would you prefer? If you had the choice between I'll live 50 years, like you said, 50 years.
Yeah.
But the happiest life, the healthiest life, or 100, but every day you're suffering and you're sad for 100 years.
And would I be able to achieve most of what I want to achieve though during those 50 years?
I guess that's up to you. If you're able to,
am I at least able to see my kids grow a bit, before I go?
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? I mean, when you're deciding between both, it's
you are sacrificing some things.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think
you
that's
might not be able to see, you know, let's say your grandchildren if that's a goal of yours or something. So you might be like, okay, I'm better off being maybe a bit sick or whatever, but living to 70. Or,
so at least I see my grandkids
or
grow
something
up, or my
like-
kids.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So you are kind of giving up some things.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know. I guess I would go healthspan.
Yeah, I think I'd say healthspan too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're choosing the same reasons probably. It's kind of like obvious, right? It's like, would you rather have like a long ass life that is like unfulfilling, miserable, filled with disease, or would you rather live maybe a bit less,
but be
healthy and you could do anything you want?
Yeah. But you know, that's the thing. It's like, why would my life be short unless we're talking about an external cause of death, like accident or just something else other than my health causing me to die?
Yeah.
Or I guess, I'm like healthy, good, and then boom, stage 4 cancer.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we can't like those things like an accident, right? It's hard to predict.
Yeah.
But at the same time, disease, we know eventually we're gonna probably get one.
But I mean, I guess we would both choose healthspan from
I think so,
from what we see. What would GPT choose?
So let's see what GPT would say. Yeah,
he's gonna say, well, I'm not human, but let me see what I can tell.
Yeah, probably something like that. Come on, GPT, give us something good here.
The debate between health span and lifespan often centers around the quality versus quantity of life. Here's a breakdown of both concepts. Lifespan, * def. Definition: lifespan refers to the total number of years a person lives. Focus: emphasis is on the duration of life, regardless of the individual's health or quality of life during those years. Critique: critics argue that simply increasing lifespan without considering the quality of life may result in a longer period of illness and dependency. Definition: healthspan is the portion of a person's life during which they are generally healthy and free from serious illness. Focus: emphasis is on maintaining good health and functionality, reducing the burden of chronic diseases, and promoting overall well-being. Benefits: improving healthspan can lead to a more active and fulfilling life, potentially reducing healthcare costs and increasing productivity. In recent years, there has been a growing recognition that both lifespan and healthspan are crucial considerations for overall well-being. Ideally, individuals would want to live long lives while enjoying good health and functionality. Advances in healthcare, preventive medicine, and lifestyle choices are increasingly geared toward not only extending lifespan but also enhancing healthspan. Ultimately, the importance of healthspan versus lifespan can vary from person to person. Some may prioritize quality of life and good health, aiming to compress the period of illness and disability towards the end of life. Others may place a higher value on simply living a longer life, even if it means dealing with some health challenges. In the context of public health and healthcare policy, there is a growing shift towards a more holistic approach that considers both dimensions. The goal is to promote not only increased longevity, but also improved well-being and vitality throughout the entire lifespan.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave a pretty balanced
Balanced answer, as expected. GPT
try to be,
trying to be politically correct. Yeah,
and neutral and not give like an opinion. No, healthspan is more important.
But it kind of said what we said again, right? It's like, ideally you would get both, right? Like a long lifespan and also like a good health span. Kind of said that. It's like, but also it's like individual, right? Which one would you prefer?
Well, because that's the thing. Like, let's say someone might have a disease, and maybe the doctors are like, okay, take this pill and just extend. You could live like 10 years with this, instead of like, how can we try to fix this and like make your life actually more enjoyable and better, and because a lot of, I guess, doctors just to focus on more like what was the thing that they say? It's not healthcare, it's sick care. You know.
But that's one of the big parts of the book. It discusses this new medicine called Medicine 3.0. Medicine 2.0 was always fixing the problem as it appears, whereas Medicine 3.0 acts as like a prevention to the diseases before, like decades before they arise.
Decades, okay.
Yeah, not just
that's
like,
how it should be, though. Yeah, because here it's like, you know, doctors are waiting. Oh, I got cancer. Oh, I got heart disease. But that's what I always ask myself. Like, why isn't public, health policies geared towards start early? You know, like these kids, you know, who eat junk food at school and then they grow up and then they're stressed. They're living, you know, apartments alone, and then they eat more junk food and they start getting fatter, and, you know, they have stress in life. You know, there's no social support, so that adds on to it, and then boom, 20 years later, heart disease or something like that, and they're like, whoa, heart disease, oh, we gotta figure out how to help you now.
Yeah.
But what happened, you know, decades ago
Exactly.
that led to that?
Yeah,
We're
like-
more reactive in our healthcare instead of proactive.
Yeah. In the book, he talks about one of his patients, and he did like the patient went to him, and he's like, she's like, oh, I just want to see, you know, if I'm at risk for any disease, whatever. And they did some tests, and turns out she had like the sequence of genes that would like put her 3 times more at risk of getting Alzheimer's disease, but in 20 or 30 years later. But they caught it like
That early?
because they started testing for that stuff. Whereas now, who the fuck would test me for Alzheimer's disease? It'd be like, what the hell, you're 27.
Yeah, you're 27. Yeah,
Like,
yeah. They wouldn't even bat an eye or...
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think we need to start implementing that, you know, preventive medicine approach. It's a cool
I
new thing.
definitely agree on that, honestly.